In terms of injuries, we know that about a dozen people have been injured and are at hospitals, 5 hospitals, 3 different hospitals. The injured range in ages 16 to 55, those dead ranging from ages 20 to 55. And of course, according to authorities here, they say that the safety measures in place when it comes to an SUV for 25 people are, of course, lagging likely the amount of people dead from this accident. But when it comes to the cause, authorities have not been specific as to why this happened. They're not sure if that SUV stopped at the intersection, but they also say that it entered the intersection where it crashed with that semi. And so at the moment, it's under investigation. I just want to show you some of those images. That semi right now, you're seeing it surrounded by authorities as well. And how this all happened. But a lot of people not the answer as they wait for this response from the California Highway Patrol that is expected to start any moment. And of course, we'll have an update with anything that authorities give us in reporting live in California.
Yeah. And I saw him and Hank Sauer go at it out of blood drive one time.
Oh, yeah. Who would you pick in that fight?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Dude, it was fascinating.
Was he crazy?
Oh, both of them.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Hank was just pushing his butt. And Rod was just, here we go.
Yeah, and then it was, it's almost the work. Pull that out a little bit if you don't mind. A little more. That's good. That's good. There we go. Santa Monica, California. 230 miles. 135.
Are you going back tonight?
Don't know. Hell, I just got here. Hoping there's service out here.
Yeah, I saw it. I heard you in the motion. There.
Supposed to start this in about time.
She went from here? Whatever, we're still in the front, that's all. Yeah. You're on the
Test check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You got it? It disconnected? Bullshit. All right, stand by. How's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A little better. Well, that's what it is. Okay, so the line is showing we're good. All right, fine. We're going to leave it up. Thanks. I'll try to give you 30 seconds warning.
Hey, what are you doing out here? I fired. I can see him out here farmland. They won't let me out here. I can see you guys this way. That way you're in my shot and going south out of.
Just gonna squeeze this one here. Okay. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Officer Arturo Platero. Last name spelled P as in Paul, Latero. I am the Public Information Officer out of the El Centro CHP area office. I'm going to present our Border Division Chief, Omar Watson. Last name spelled Watson. He will be giving you guys an update on the collision that occurred this morning. This will be our final update. If you guys have any further questions, please wait until he's done. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So I'm going to go ahead and give the same briefing I gave before. I know there's some new media outlets out here, and then we can answer questions about anything else that is of importance. So on March 2nd at approximately 06:15 hours, El Centro Dispatch received a call of a traffic collision involving two vehicles, which occurred on SR 115 at Norris Road. The vehicles involved were a big rig hauling two trailers and a maroon Ford Expedition. The big rig was traveling northbound on SR 15 north of Norris Road at an unknown speed. The Ford Expedition was westbound on Norris Road at SR 15 at the intersection. At this point, it's unknown whether or not the SUV stopped at the stop sign. For reasons still under investigation, the Ford Expedition entered the intersection in front of the big rig. The big rig collided with the left side of the Ford Expedition and pushed it to the shoulder. As a result of this collision, the driver of the big rig, who's 69 years old, sustained moderate injuries and was transported to Desert Regional Medical Center, where he's being treated for his injuries. There were 25 occupants in the Ford Expedition, including the driver, who's 22 years old. 12 of the occupants, including the driver, succumbed to their injuries, 12 on scene and 1 at the hospital. The other occupants were transported to El Centro Regional Medical Center, Pioneers Memorial Hospital, and Desert Regional Medical Center, where they're being treated. A few of the patients were transported to Scripps and UCSD Medical Center because those are trauma hospitals and they needed more attention. Our multidisciplinary accident investigation team is on scene. There's a specialized team that's going to be investigating this incident to its conclusion. They're specially trained to look at all the physical evidence involved in this collision to determine exactly what happened. It would be premature of me to speculate on what happened at this collision. The important thing is that 13 people died in this crash. We owe it to the families of those that were killed and injured, as well as the public, to conduct a complete and thorough investigation to determine exactly what happened. I'd like to again thank our allied agencies that are involved today: Holtville Fire Department, Imperial County Sheriff's Corner and Fire Department, U.S. Border Patrol, Caltrans, and we have the CEO of El Centro Regional Medical Center, as well as the Mexican consulate. Thank you.
What do you know about where those people in the expedition were coming from and where they were going?
Right now, it's premature to know that information. We're really focusing on notifying the next of kin and finding out exactly what caused the collision.
Are they U.S. citizens?
At this point, we don't know where they're all from. We're still under investigation.
Okay.
Chief, are you able to, have you spoken to the driver?
You told us that you contacted different consulates, the Mexican consulate, Salvadorian consulate, that this means that most probably they are Latinos and family.
That's not what we're saying. We're saying that we want to make sure we have all the resources necessary to really ascertain where they're from, if they're from here or from Mexico, to make sure we have all the resources necessary to figure that out. We'd rather do that now than later on and be slow in making notifications if necessary. So we brought all of our counterparts on board to start from in the beginning of the investigation.
Chief, did any of your investigators manage to talk to those people who were not critically injured in the crash itself? Did they give you any kind of an indication of why this happened?
Thus far, they have talked with them, but they haven't provided any information to help us understand why this collision happened.
Chief, can you clarify the age of the driver of the SUV and the age range in terms of the passengers on board?
The driver of the SUV was, I believe, 20. The driver of the SUV was 22.
Earlier you said 28. You said 23 before and somebody else said 28, so we're getting a lot of different...
Yeah, right now the number we have is 22. As far as the ages of the people in the SUV, range in their early 20s up into their 50s.
So not 16.
Not pardon me?
Not 16.
16?
Yeah, we heard earlier a 16-year-old.
No, not to my knowledge. As far as the driver,
Or the youngest?
okay, the youngest in the vehicle was 16, but we're talking about the ones that were critically injured or killed. So I think that's where the numbers are getting mixed up. So anywhere from 16 into the 50s in the vehicle, and there's a range of ages as far as those that were killed in the collision.
The driver had a valid driver's license?
Pardon me?
The driver had a valid driver's license?
At this point, I don't know that.
Children or women?
Yes, there were women and men in the vehicle, no young children.
How do you fit 25 people in a vehicle like that?
Right now it's too early to speculate something like that. All we can say is that they were in the vehicle. Our message to the public is to make sure that everyone wears their safety belts to prevent injuries or fatalities when involved in collisions.
Regular seats inside the vehicle was it set up
been
normally?
gutted, meaning they may have removed the majority of the seats and everything else in the vehicle.
At this point, we're still inspecting the vehicle, so we don't have that information.
But do they know? I mean, are the seats in there or anything?
Well, right now we're still investigating, so we don't have that answer quite yet.
I mean,
When you look at the car right now, though, are there seats in the car?
There's seats in the car, but we don't know how many seats there are. Okay?
Can you confirm that any are missing?
Pardon me?
Can you confirm if any are missing? Maybe the
No,
front row?
no, we can't.
Talk about how the victims were found. Were they in the street? Were they in the car? We're going to just expand.
Some of the victims were ejected from the vehicle. There's some walking wounded that pulled themselves out of the vehicles. And then once the allied agencies and our CHP personnel arrived on scene, they were also pulling people from the vehicle as well. So it was a pretty chaotic scene.
Coming from? Where does it come from? What does it lead to? And at 6 in the morning, what sort of traffic do you see on that road?
There's quite a few through traffic on this roadway, but we don't know where the vehicle is coming from at this point. That's still under investigation.
are you looking into the possibility, or were these farm workers? Were these immigrants? What do you know? What are you looking into?
So the question is, are they farm workers or immigrants? We don't know that. It's too late in the investigation to say what they were doing and where they're coming from. That's why we've assembled this team of personnel from all the agencies to ascertain exactly where they're coming from and exactly what happened.
Is it standard operating procedure, though, to reach out if there's an accident like this to the Mexican consulate before you know where everyone is from? Is that standard?
It really depends on the circumstances of the collision. In this case, a lot of the people in the vehicle didn't speak English, so we wanted to make sure that we had all the resources available in order to start expediting exactly where the folks may be from and being able to reach out to their families. We are close to the border, so we have people that come back and forth on a daily basis for work, so that's something that we couldn't necessarily rule out.
How difficult would
They
it be
could
to
have
start
been
or
day workers. is what you're saying.
Potentially, but we don't know at this point. Correct.
how difficult would it be to stop or accelerate with that many people in the car?
That would be hard for me to say. I think that a vehicle like that can tow a boat or a trailer, so we don't know at this point whether or not that had anything to do with the collision.
Was the vehicle registered to the driver?
That I don't know at this point.
Chief, have we ruled out that this maroon expedition was being chased? Have we ruled out that it was not being chased?
Correct. He's asking if whether or not this vehicle is being chased. There are no other agencies or no law enforcement personnel behind the vehicle, so we don't really know where they're coming from or why they went through that intersection in front of the big rig.
How long did it take you from the call of the accident to your first unit here?
The first unit was here within probably 10 minutes of the call. Now, our mate team had to travel from long distances, so it took them quite a bit of time to get out here.
Could you describe the injuries? What broken bones? What type?
Injuries range from minor to very severe injuries. A whole range of injuries. It would be too many to discuss.
Chief, have your investigators been able to find any identification papers in among the wreckage or people themselves, passports, green cards, anything?
They were able to. The question is, did they find any identification? And the answer is yes. Not for everyone, but we have found identification for some of the folks in the vehicle.
Was it U.S. or was it from another country, the identification?
Pardon me?
Was the ID from another country or was it from the U.S.?
I don't know exactly whether the identification was from at this point.
Did the identification suggest that they're family members or that they knew each other in any way?
That I couldn't say. That's a little too early to speculate. Remember, our focus right now is on the collision itself and why it happened and making sure that we get in contact with family members. That's really what our focus is.
Chief, we did see skid marks. It looks like skid marks from the semi. Is that what you guys are seeing, that the semi had a moment to try to lock up the brakes? Is that consistent with what you guys are seeing?
He's asking if the skid marks are indication of basically what happened with the collision, and right now it's too early to tell. That's why the mate team is out here. It's in the preliminary stages, so all we can do is gather the evidence and look at all the factors before we render a decision.
Have you been able to contact any next of kin here in the United States?
All of that's being coordinated through the coroner's office, so that I wouldn't be able to say.
Who was the SUV registered to? Was it registered to the driver?
That I don't know.
Earlier we were told that the driver was from Mexicali. Can you confirm that?
I believe the driver is from Mexicali.
And Chief, where was the semi driver headed?
Pardon me?
The semi truck driver, where was he headed early in the morning?
That I don't know.
Was it loaded?
The trailer was not loaded.
Did you just say that the driver was from Mexicali? Is that what you said?
Of the SUV.
Of the SUV.
Correct. All right. Thank you very much.
You said that the trailer was, both those trailers were empty?
Yes.
Buenas tardes. Si gustan, no puedo darle información en español. Sargento Juan García. Hoy por la mañana, 6:15 de la mañana, el centro de comunicaciones del centro recibió una llamada de un accidente que involucraba dos vehículos, un camión doble remolque y una Ford Expedition.